Be a part of history on October 6th as Indianapolis hosts the last Coca-Cola Circle City Classic football game in the RCA Dome. See the Florida A&M Rattlers and the Winston-Salem University Rams. Enjoy a halftime performance by Parade Grand Marshal Kelly Rowland and the Caterpillar Battle of the Bands with a drumline showdown. Before the game, see the American Family Insurance Classic Parade. Catch Maze with Frankie Beverly and the Average White Band at the Coors Cabaret. For tickets to the American Family Insurance Classic weekend events, call 317-237-5222 or visit CircleCityClassic.com.
I believe that children are flowers. That's why we enforce our curfew law. Children 14 and under must be in by 11 p.m. every day. Young people ages 15 to 17 must be in by 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. Friday and Saturday curfew is 1 a.m. The only exceptions are work, school, church activities, or if the youth is with a parent or guardian. Do you know where your child is? Obey the curfew law and keep our children safe.
Now this next segment is for any teen who's ever gone out at night or on the weekend or whenever and hasn't been concerned with getting home at a decent hour. Maybe this would ring a bell. Curfew. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because curfew is very real, and breaking curfew carries very real consequences. So now we'll talk with a few people and get their perspectives on the Indiana curfew law and why it was so highly enforced during the Circle City Classic.
Kids hanging out's nothing new. You know, I mean, when I was a kid, we hung out somewhere. We used to hang out at Union Station. Sometimes we hung out in the Circle. So kids hanging out is nothing new. Back in the 50s, kids used to hang out at the soda shop. And, you know, we've built this wonderful downtown. We've got this great downtown that people have been building for the last, 50 years, really. And really the last 25, 30 years intensely. So when you build something like that, you're attracting people. You're attracting all sorts of people. You're attracting adults. You're attracting kids.
It's not so much that we're saying all of the problems are because of the kids, but it's the mere numbers. So that if there is a problem, then it becomes unsafe for everybody because there's so many kids hanging out downtown.
Hey, most kids, when you're in your teenage years, you're learning, you're gaining independence. You want to be able to go and do the things you want to do, and when you don't have a family structure, which is often happening in today's society, with parents at home that are all there all the time, disciplining kids. They'll tend to push that envelope as far as they can.
Well, the curfew law, it's a state law, but we're going to enforce it here in Indianapolis. But it's important because it keeps young people out of trouble. My mom used to say when I was growing up, nothing good happens after 11 o'clock.
Some of the events we've had in the past, we didn't have a curfew law that we could enforce. The municipal ordinances had come up with curfew laws that were found to be, not enforceable, violating civil rights in the enforcement of them, so they had to do away with them. So for a period of time, we couldn't enforce any curfew laws.
Well, I think that this country is experiencing a huge upsurge in violence, and so what happened during our event, it was not provoked by minors, and so we can't say it was the kids. The issue with the kids, as I said earlier, is because there's so many of them there, so that when something does happen, it's a lot more difficult for public safety to try and get involved and try and make the situation safe for everybody.
It's really a tool to protect kids, because if you're 11 or 12 years old or 13 years old, you shouldn't be out on the street at 11 o'clock or at midnight. And so those are times when kids just happen to get in trouble. It could be good kids, certainly there's some bad kids out there who are making trouble, but could be some good kids who are in the wrong place at the wrong time. So we think it is important that parents have this tool and that police officers and law enforcement have a tool to make sure these kids stay safe.
I think it's stupid and a waste of time, because people should be able to do what they want to do.
They ain't wrong, but it ain't gonna work. Yeah, it ain't gonna work. Look at our IDs. It's not gonna work.
At 11 o'clock, it's 14 and under. Everybody 14 and under has to be inside or with an adult or an adult representative that's been assigned by their family, by their parents or guardian. And then at 1 o'clock, it's 17 and under. Here in a few minutes, we'll actually go looking for the real young ones. We won't even approach you unless you look 10, 11, 12 years old.
If you are 15, 16, or 17 years of age, you are not allowed to be in a public place after 1 o'clock a.m. You may be subject to arrest by a law enforcement officer and transported to a detention center.
When we find find out that they are in fact a curfew violator, they'll be issued a summons. They will be handcuffed, and they'll be transported down to a facility where there's prosecutors, juvenile people. They will contact family and have family come and get them from that point.
I don't think they should get locked up, but I think it's right to send them home, mainly because right now we done had too many killings in Indianapolis. So people under 18 try to lose their life early. I mean, so they doing the right thing with the curfew, but putting them in jail is a whole other thing. But then if they don't, then the question is how they gonna get them off the streets.
Me personally, I would hope that the state wouldn't jeopardize my life over staying out for one night.
It depends. I think it depends on who you are, because I mean, your age don't mark your maturity.
I think the number one help would be responsible parenting. You know, parents that realize that, hey, there's really no need for my 13-year-old to be downtown at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not a good place for them to be. You know, they have to understand that the whole reason we have this curfew law isn't because we want to take the fun out of being a teenager. We want to protect the teenagers. You know, a lot of them are at a very naive time in their life. They're learning what goes on in the world. They have no idea how badly they can get hurt. At that age, people tend to have a nothing can hurt me kind of an attitude. I'm never going to die. And all it takes is one idiot out there to have a gun and start pulling the trigger. And, you know, as happened not too long ago, we had two yahoos driving down the street shooting each other. You had a 13-year-old boy who gets shot in the head and killed. You know? That's what the curfew laws are for. We're going to protect our young people in this city. You know, they really are the future here. You know, the future leaders of the city, future businessmen. And if we can't protect them and give them an environment that they can grow up in and flourish and learn, you know, we're hurting ourselves.
The curfew law cannot solve the issues that we have. It can help, but it's not going to solve all the issues. It's going to take our community, it's going to take our families, it's going to take our churches, it's going to take our leaders, it's going to take everybody. There's not one solution that's going to be able to help. It's going to take all of us coming together and being on one accord and saying that we're going to make sure that all of our events, not just Summer Celebration or Circle City Classic, that all of our events and our neighborhoods are safe. It's because of what we do as individuals that we can make sure and ensure that that happens.
And there you have it. You now know what the consequences are if you break curfew and why there's such a huge crackdown on teen curfew violators. So protect yourself. Don't do anything stupid, because no one wants to end their night of fun in the paddy wagon, or even worse, jail. Am I right?
For questions, comments, and story ideas, please call 317-923-3106 or hit us up on our website, YVI360.com.
Breathe.